2001, A Space Odyssey is the best movie ever made. You might think it's a little too slow, or you might think it's too confusing, but without further ado, let's jump into the summary. The movie starts in a section titled The Dawn of Man. It follows a bunch of apes in a deserty landscape. Food is scarce, and they must compete with other bands of apes for water. The apes at first are very confused and afraid, but over time they get used to it. One of the apes is just, monkeying around. The ape looks up at the black monolith. He thinks, and thinks, and thinks. But given the music, we can tell that something very important is happening. He picks up a bone. He grabs it. He flops it. He hits something. He's grabbed it. He gets up. He picks it up. He smashes it. He smashes bone. He's picked it up. He picks up the bone, swings it down, and smashes some other bones. He smashes. He swings. He swings. He swings. The world is bending to the will of the ape. We see animals die, and we get a clue from that this tool may eventually be used to kill animals. The message is clear. This is the first use of tools, and when the ape uses the tool, it becomes a human, according to this movie. The monolith either prompted or was there to observe the creation of an intelligent life form. With their new tools, the apes drive away their enemies from the water hole. It is now the year 2001. Remember, this was made back in 1968, so in 2001 they thought we'd have all sorts of magical things. Now, we see a lot of satellites floating around, nothing new in that. We switch to seeing a Pan-American space clipper. Now, what's funny about this is that I believe Pan Am actually went bankrupt in 1991. Presumably, Pan Am was saved by its spacecraft investments. We now see to the inside of the Pan Am space clipper. Now, 2001, I believe, is one of the most scientifically accurate science fiction movies, and so you don't have magical gravity generators, and so there is no gravity aboard this spacecraft. Dr. Haywood Floyd, as we will later learn his name to be, heads to the space station where he meets up with some old colleagues.
It's just that for the past 2 weeks, some extremely odd things have been happening at Clavius.
Clavius Base is the moon base which Dr. Floyd is, of course, heading to. Despite being set in 2001, this is still very much a mid-century film, and people talk like it's mid-century. Now, their fashion sense isn't the best, but from what I googled, it's much better than what they had in the real 2000. The Haywood Floyd section is by far the most human part of the film. Floyd is invited to a meeting at the base. There it's revealed that there isn't actually an epidemic. In fact, they've discovered an object buried beneath the lunar surface.
The evidence was against it. Not even a big nickel iron meteorite could produce a field as intense as this. So we decided to have a look.
We thought it might be the upper part of some buried structure, so we excavated out on all sides, but unfortunately we didn't find anything else.
And what's more, the evidence seems pretty conclusive that it hasn't been covered up by natural erosion or other forces. It seems to have been deliberately buried.
Deliberately buried.
Deliberately buried.
Well, how about a little coffee?
Wish they all we did.
I don't suppose you have any idea what the damn thing is, huh?
Deliberately buried. No, the only thing we're sure of is it was buried 4 million years ago.
Deliberately buried.
Now, they get to the site of the object, and what do you know? It's a big black monolith, buried millions of years ago. I love how that music is playing and they're just like, let's all take a picture. Okay, that wraps up part 1. Part 2 will be out in a few days. So, the second monolith on the moon, unlike the first monolith whose purpose was to observe or prompt a major event in humanity's history, this one's purpose, as we will learn in the later parts of the movie, is to alert something at Jupiter that humans have become a spacefaring species. Thanks to all the YouTubers who posted clips of 2001: A Space Odyssey online. I couldn't have done this without you.